Look at that shit. That's amazing.
Cool. Okay. Commuovere Stories, Jackals Hour. Let's go. Yeah, what do you want to talk about first, man? You should probably introduce...
Sematary.
No, we'll get to that. Let's do that later.
I don't know then.
We should probably intro the site, man.
Okay, let's do it.
So we start this website. So this is what we were talking about before. So Commuovere Stories. Commuovere is Italian for, it means like something that moves you, something that's like meaningful, but there's no real like literal translation into English. But
That's
so
cool, man.
I thought that was a cool name for a site.
It's badass.
Probably not like the coolest name for finding it, so people are not really gonna search for it or look it up. But anyway, at least it sounds cool, and it kind of sets a little bit of purpose for the site. So if we put something on the site, it means that it's meaningful. That's basically the idea. But yeah,
That's
going to
cool,
be
man.
like.
I like that.
So we're going to cover like everything, like product, you know, like just review stuff that we like, music, obviously, movies, TV.
Talk about gigs.
And yeah, especially writing and stuff like that as well. So stories that we're working on, stories on the site, stories from other writers on the site. Yeah, like first of all, one of the first things that we reviewed was this whiskey right here. It's empty, as you can see. But this came from Scotland. In Edinburgh, actually, there was a whiskey tasting, and yeah, they have different whiskies from different regions. So this is from like the Campbelltown region. It's kind of like a nice, pretty smooth. Like it's not like a Highland whiskey where it's kind of smoky or whatever.
It smells so good.
Yeah, it's really smooth drinking, just really easy. Like not like we're like whiskey connoisseurs or whatever, but you know, if you're going to drink some whiskey, it's a pretty good option. It's about $100 a bottle, I think, so, you know, it's not cheap. But, yeah. So we've got some, like, beers here as well that we picked up today. The Brewmanity. So I thought these look pretty cool. They seem alright.
Is that the one I just had?
Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
not bad, hey.
That's
And we've got
really
these
nice.
pale ales here too. But, I don't know, man, have you seen that Game of Thrones whiskey?
No.
So you can get like Game of Thrones themed whiskey now. There's a few people doing it. So I guess like...
What do you mean different companies are doing?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like... You can get like House Stark whiskey, Lannister whiskey.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all different types of whiskey to drink, I guess, while you're watching the show. So maybe we'll do like some sort of drinking game or something with the show. Like we should do like a watch party or something.
That's cool.
And come up with some drinking game rules. Maybe somebody will send us some Game of Thrones whiskey. But yeah, anyway, speaking of whiskey, let's talk about the Max and Igor Cavalera gig.
Oh, best gig ever.
Yeah.
Probably like in my top 5.
It was a surprisingly good gig.
Oh, amazing.
Like, I knew it was going to be good, but wasn't expecting it to be quite as good as what it was.
That crowd was pretty rough, man, and there was like such a heavy, like negative vibe. But the second the band started, like the whole crowd was just united, and that fucking huge circle pit.
Yeah.
And they chucked that dude on a wheelchair upside down on the stage. I've never seen that ever at a gig. The
Yeah.
dude like was already in a wheelchair, and he got chucked on stage.
That's probably how he would, you know, that's probably how he got in the wheelchair.
Oh man, what's he doing in the circle
Yeah.
pit? He's in a wheelchair.
Man, that guy's, he's not stopping, man.
That dude's badass.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really good show. Like, Max and Igor absolutely smashed it. Like, I reckon, like, they started off with Beneath the Remains, which was awesome, and played a few songs from that album, and then they played a couple of songs from the Arise album, obviously Arise.
So good.
Yeah, it was hectic.
And we had a different set compared, you said, because we got the AC/DC cover.
Yeah, because we were kind of saying like, oh, it would have been good if they had played Roots, even though they did the Roots tour. couple of years ago, but still, you know, it's one of their big songs. But actually, we got a special.
I know, that was fucking cool.
Yeah, so
It's weird that they didn't do that for Perth though, because Bon Scott's from Fremantle.
Yeah.
So like, if you were a mad geek, you'd kind of be pissed that they missed. They mustn't have had it ready. Like, who did they do Perth after Sydney or?
Yeah, like I think Perth was before Sydney actually.
So maybe they were aiming to have that set, but they didn't get it together in time or something.
Yeah, I don't know, but
that was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
What was that other
really good?
What was that other cover that they did though? It was a Black Sabbath or something.
Yeah, and they played some Slayer as well.
Oh, dude, I was almost confused. It was so much cool shit going on at once.
Yeah, that was right at the end too. So
that was amazing.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool night. Definitely highlight up there to see. You know, I saw Sepultura back in the day. Like it was one of the first. Yeah, it was one of the first gigs that I ever went to. From memory, I think it was at the Horden Pavilion, and back in the Sepultura heyday. So I was sort of probably, I think, about 15 years old.
Oh, dude, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but yeah, they definitely brought it again this time. I think their Roots tour was sold out in Australia, so that was, you know, obviously like this tour was going to be really big and popular as well, and it totally was.
I love that nearly like every dude in the room had a Nail Bomb shirt on.
Yeah,
I was like, so good.
Yeah, there was a lot of Nail Bomb fans there.
Fuck man,
I got the
love
shirt.
That,
I got the tour shirt. So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and then last weekend, then we saw like the very next Saturday night, it was
Anselmo.
Yeah, Anselmo. It was the Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, and they had a few bands supporting, King Parrot, Palm, and
it was hard to not be affected when you're watching that gig by how amazing, like 7 days before, you know, Cavalera was. Like that just. Fuck man, they raised the bar a little bit. That was
it totally affected the vibe for us.
Oh, I think for nearly every dude there, because everyone that was there was at both shows.
Well, a lot of people had like this shirt.
I know, that was cool.
Yeah, which I wore this shirt too. But then we obviously bought a lot more kit, so I got the hat.
Man, they did have good merch there. Like that.
Yeah,
amazing.
King Parrot had good merch. Like Potion is an Australian band. So they, you know, like, that was pretty cool that they included them. And then Palm, I've been listening to a lot more Palm afterwards. Palm are like a Japanese heavy metal thrash kind of band.
Except for that one white dude, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, they were, I don't know, I think they're really good, man. I think like...
they didn't seem too much like I Hate God or just that sound?
No, not really, man. Like they if you listen, like I listened to the albums a bit more closely afterwards, and they do a pretty good job of mixing in some pretty cool melodies into the metal. Which,
I haven't checked them out except for that gig.
Yeah, for that style of kind of like groove metal, thrash metal, that's what you want. You want a little bit of like melody. It's not full like death metal, wall of sound type stuff. It's a little bit more melodic. And
both gigs, there was probably 10 chicks in total, if you combine both gigs.
Yeah, probably.
No girls. No, there was a couple of girls, but...
Yeah, I guess it's like a male-dominated thing, but yeah.
I know, I just thought that, because they're kind of mainstream bands, or Anselmo is mainstream, you know, by default, I guess. I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the thing, like, I kind of felt like because with Anselmo, right? So he was like he was doing it as a tribute to like the Abbott brothers, and he's sort of saying, I'm only playing these Pantera songs as a tribute, and this is only going to happen.
The stories were cool about the songs, eh?
Yeah, so it was sort of like, you know, because that whole history is pretty like tumultuous, you know, with the band, and then obviously like we put reviews for both of these concerts on the website as well, so you can kind of read a little bit more detail about, you know, what we're talking about. But obviously, like, Anselmo had a few like controversies, and he was pretty like...
What was the controversies?
You know, because he was He was doing like Nazi salutes and shit like that at Dine Fest and yeah. Or I don't know, like all of that shit. Anyway, I think there were a few people who were kind of like, fuck, you know, what do we do? It's Pantera. We really like grew up with this music, but you know that stuff happened. I don't know. I read a couple other reviews that were kind of that tone as well, but. Yeah, at the end of the day...
How much just dropping like one little motion has got press and probably sold albums and, you know, just a little, you know, no wonder bands do dicky stuff, you know, stuff.
He's a controversial dude, and he, like, that dude, like, overdosed on heroin in the 90s, and he's obviously had a pretty fucking tumultuous life. So, you know, like, this stuff happens, and...
His vocals were still amazing, man. But I was pretty impressed with the vocal range.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, whatever, you know, that stuff is no good. But I think most people were just there because, like, it was kind of palpable, like, when the Illegals came on, that we were just kind of waiting for the Pantera songs that we knew were coming. Which is a shame because actually the Illegals have some really good songs. And,
I think, man, after we were there for a long time, we saw a lot of, we saw every live band before. I think probably by that stage we
were drinking. We were we were ready. I just the expectation.
The whole crowd too, man. The energy. They were just like, even though the like support bands were good. People just wanted a certain thing, you know. It must be hard to be a support band and be that level of pressure where they kind of want you to fuck off so someone else can come on, but still giving it 110%, which is what they all did.
Yeah, that's what comes with touring with Anselmo, I guess. Like, he's got a huge history, and
you could tell every single dude in the support band had been influenced by him.
Yeah, exactly. They're massive.
Whether it was demeanor or even just like dress or whatever, but. You could tell they were just fanboying so hard to be on stage with him. You know what I mean? Like, that was just like the ultimate for them, you know?
Yeah.
You could tell it was a big deal to a lot of people.
Yeah, totally. Like, Pantera used to be able to fill stadiums, you know? They were that big.
I know, and that was the gig we just saw, man, that was so intimate and it was weird. It was like a big gig, but it felt small, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Factory Theatre is always a good venue.
Yeah, man, and we had that best little... spot you got us that good little spot to see. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, definitely a good gig. I think they played a free gig on Monday night at Frankie's Pizza.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, King Parrot as well. So that would have been cool. I think if
so weird.
It's probably unlikely, I guess, that they'll come again. But if they did, I'd definitely try and catch them.
That King Parrot, was that started with that Russell Peter? What's that thing? What's that dude? Peter Russell Clark.
Yeah.
And they started with that sample.
Yeah.
Man, everyone was laughing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was cool.
They did a few things like that.
That was so funny.
I caught some of that in the video that I put on the website, which was cool. And I also caught the fucking Hostiles as well.
Cool.
So that was pretty cool. So that's like on the site. So, you know, just a little sample. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was good. I still can't get over the dude on the wheelchair. Like, I've never seen... Sorry. I'm thinking about, like, the other gig, but, like, I can't stop... Like, the dude was upside down in a wheelchair at the Cavalera gig. I was just, like, blown away. It was cool.
Man, I was nearly upside down coming home from Anselmo.
Oh,
do you know, like, I went past the Erskineville kebab shop, and I bought a pita.
Really?
Yeah.
With nothing in it?
Yeah, no, I went in there and I had like a pita and...
What, like just the bread?
No, like with like filling and it had like... But it was really hot, like, so I like...
This is fucking... Sorry, it's really hard to smoke through this mask.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty much just giving up until after. I bought this pita and I got it. The guy... I think I must have looked pretty like munted, so the dude kind of like brought it around the side for me. He didn't serve me over the normal counter, and he handed me this. Thanks, man. Gave him the money, and then ran out of there. And the first thing I did when I got out on the street was try and open the box of pita, and I just took a bite and it just burnt the shit out of my mouth. And I quickly put it back in, and then I was so keen to eat this pita, I just pretty much just ran home.
I was worried you weren't even going to get home.
I made it. I made it, and with food. And I ate the whole pita when I got home, except for one piece, which I put in the fridge. And then I ate that last piece. First thing I did when I woke up in the morning, I ran downstairs and just ate that last piece of pita because I just still had it in my head.
Oh man, that was fun. I feel a bit sorry for your friends that were hanging out with us that weren't drinking or anything.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
I feel like they deserve some compensation for putting up with us. No.
We're okay. We're okay.
I don't know.
But,
I don't think so.
It's alright. So let's talk about some movies, like,
Yeah, tell me about Pet Sematary, man, because I'm hanging to see it, and I'm probably not going to get a chance to.
No, you will. You have to. It's
like, the posters look fucking cool, man. I was in a taxi the other day, and I just saw like about 5 of them in a row. I was like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah, but apparently there's some Pet Sematary vans getting around the city, so yeah, one of my friends saw one, so I was like, damn,
I want to see a
cool.
photo of that.
Yeah, that's what I said, why don't you take a photo?
He's probably in shock, like, oh my god.
Yeah, but honestly, like, it was one of the scariest horror movies I've seen for quite a while.
For
like,
real?
It was actually like, I mean, like, you watch it and you get a real appreciation of like how fucked up Stephen King's mind was at the time. Because, like...
Was he coked out then? He wasn't. No?
I think it was during those days when he was,
what did you say the other day? Like, that he wrote 2 books? What were they that he can't remember writing?
He definitely wrote, like, Tommy Knockers and Cujo, and his anecdote is that he doesn't remember writing them. So...
Yeah. I know he's not that into some parts of those, so maybe he's just kind of... just disowning it a bit.
I don't know.
He did seem to be, because I've got this interview in a book with him, and there's like a quote saying like Stephen King doesn't want to wait for his next beer, because apparently when he was like a hardcore alcoholic, he just went to a bar and he would just order multiples. You don't know? Yeah,
man, he was fucked up, and he was pretty fucked up during those days, and then he obviously went to rehab and sorted out his life, and his wife stuck with him or whatever. So it was. You know, that's good, but yeah, certainly Pet Sematary, I think, was kind of, I don't know, like, it was something, like, especially fucked up was going on, because if you think about it, like, you know, if you don't know the story at all, then, you know, probably skip the next, like, minute or two, but basically, you know, like, the premise is that you know, you've got this doctor, so he's like a super logical, rational thinker, and he wants to spend more time with his family because he's missing his kids growing up. So they move out into the country, and they move into this creepy house, and they basically, like, the neighbor basically tells them, oh, if you bury something in this ground back here, it will come back to life after it's dead. And
his dead kid, eh?
Yeah.
It's fucking dark, hey?
So
is the movie that dark?
The cat... Oh, it's dark, man. It's so dark. Because the cat dies first, and the cat is awesome. Like, the cat is a fucking feature of the whole film.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, apparently they had, like, 4 cats.
Really?
And each of the cats had a special skill. Like, one of them was awesome at hissing, and apparently the movie took a lot longer than expected, because they used to bring the cats on, and they used to have to let the cats, like, sniff around for 10 minutes before they could do anything. And of course they were cats, I was like... You know, like, when they put the cat in the you know, the sour ground or whatever, and the cat came back, I was kind of like, well, now he's just a regular cat, because he's just an asshole. And he was just kind of swiping everyone. But then the cat did lead the kid out onto the road, and it does diverge from
shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because all the trucks are going past. Yeah. But it diverges from the main book, and I think, like, I read a couple of reviews, and a few people like not super happy that it diverged so much or whatever. But
how's it shot, like, visually? Like, it's pleasing.
It's fucking yeah, like it's just a top quality production.
Like, are we talking on the level of it?
Yeah,
because that's pretty high.
Yeah, there's the main doctor is an Australian dude, so Jason Clarke, and he's awesome. So. That's he cool. Really, like, smashes the role up. So he's the parent, and his kid gets hit with the truck. And then, like, his wife goes off, and then the creepy old neighbor comes over, and he's like, I don't know, man, sometimes dead is better. You better leave that kid dead, or whatever. But he's just in so much grief that he's like, he just goes wild, and he goes, like, this is how fucked up it is.
Does it bum you out, though? Is it that dark that you're
it's
kind
just
of
scary,
a bit bummed out?
Because he's just so wild, and he goes and digs up his fucking kid.
Dude, that's so cool.
And he carries his
So
dead
creepy,
kid
man.
and like buries his kid in his ground, and then obviously like the kid comes back and the kid is fucking crazy. And like one of the best parts I reckon of the movie is where he's like the wife comes home and then the kid, the dead kid, comes around the corner and he's like, hug your daughter, and she's like, fuck, because you know he's like, no, this isn't right, you know. It's just he carries
How
it
long
off.
does it go for?
I don't know, man. Actually, like, well, it didn't feel like too long. Like, it's a good time.
Because
Yeah.
I loved it, man, but it felt a bit long.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's as long as it. Yeah, no, it was a really good length. It was just really high quality. It was actually kind of scary, which was cool.
Do you know if what jump scare or like creepy
More just-
scare, like that
more just-
bathroom scene in The Shining or whatever?
Yeah, like there was some jump scares, but it was also just kind of fucked up, you know, like.
Do you know if Stephen King's happy with it? Is he actually
I don't know.
promoting it and like happy to have his name attached to it? Because you know how sometimes
Yeah.
he's not really.
I
He
know,
doesn't
man,
even
I
like
haven't-
The Shining.
I haven't
I love
heard
it.
much about that. Like, I haven't read anything to say that he loves it or hates it or whatever. But man, it's just a super high quality production and it's just like a super awesome. It's definitely like up there with one of the best movies of the year for sure. But I saw Us the week before.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
the Us
Tell me,
movie.
I haven't seen that either.
So have you seen Get Out?
Yeah, but I can't really remember it that well.
Yeah, man. It's like Get Out is where they like you know, they lock the people in the basement and basically the really rich old people take over the young black people's lives.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super intense. Us was like also intense, but it wasn't quite as raw. Like it was actually like Us has a lot of funny parts in it, and so you know the premise, right? Like it's a family and they're going on holidays. Like they go on this vacation to Santa Cruz, and they get this like they've got this like beach house or whatever. It's not really a beach house, but it's like in the area, and their kid is kind of like a little bit of a shit. Like he sort of like he's a little bit of a brat, and he's like, oh hey, there's another family in the driveway, and they're all like, oh, you know, go to bed, you little jerk or whatever. And then they look out, and then there is some people in the driveway, and then they sort of work out that actually it's kind of like them, you know, like it's the exact same. And then these people basically invade the house, and it's like, what the fuck are they? You know, are they like, you know, what the fuck's going on? And yeah, it just gets.
Would you
hectic.
say like that movie's on par with Pet Sematary?
Yeah, like it's just a different movie. Like yeah, like I think, you know, there's a lot of like, I reckon like everybody's English teacher would love that movie just because there's so many like symbols and so much like, you know, there's so much to think about. Like there's been a lot of theories that have come out about the end of the movie and, you know, what everything meant. And like there's a lot of social commentary, but it's just as a movie, like it's just super cool. Like the visuals are just excellent. Like they use a lot of masks and they use like really cool like framing. It's just really, you can tell that he had like a lot more money than what he did when he did Get Out, because it's just that much more polished, that much more kind of drilled down. It's also a little bit like lighter, really, because that guy Jordan Peele, he does like he does a lot of comedy. He has like comedy skit. He does like you know, like the TV show like Big Mouth or whatever. So yeah, he sort of added in that kind of humour, which is pretty cool.
I'll have to check it out, man. I'm more pumped to see Pet Sematary in cinema though.
Yeah, and they're both really good. The thing is, like, Us is like a super visual movie, so it's like really good to see it on the big screen. But yeah, both are awesome movies. So both reviewed on the site. So yeah, they're just really cool stories.
This is a present for you.
Sweet.
Have a look.
Thanks, man.
It's not laced.
Cool. So let's talk about some stories, man. You got a story on the site, Cambodian Pharmacy.
Yeah, man. I don't actually even remember writing that. But I'm glad you found it, and yeah, I honestly, that was a pretty weird time.
It's like it's like I said, it's like the most viewed story on the site.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's like people love that dark tourist stuff, you know? And it's like, yeah, it's a bit abstract. It's like pretty cool story. Feels kind of authentic.
Probably the best parts about it are your editing. Like,
No,
yeah, when you I don't know, how long ago did you bring that up?
I don't know, man.
You're like, hey man, can I put this up? I was like, what?
I just found it.
What is that?
It was sitting around, like, we just had it sitting around for a while.
And there's this other one that I can't remember writing either, that we might put up.
Yeah, the meat market.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that yet, because I haven't really... I'll check it out, and then...
Yeah, I had one like that. Like, I read an old one that I did, and I sort of thought about it, and I thought, yeah.
It's crazy how they say put it away for however long.
Yeah.
And, man, I do kind of know what they mean now, because you can't really get perspective. Like, I haven't seen that story in years, like that you just showed me.
Yeah, we had
So when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, I could look at it properly, like, you know, I don't know, I could look at it properly.
Yeah, I reckon if you just, you know, if you have the luxury to give yourself time just to let something settle, you can kind of read it as somebody else will read it.
Exactly, man. That's probably the first time that's happened for me. It was with this story, so I understood what they were talking about.
I think that's like it's a real nice luxury to have. I think like most professional writers, they don't have that. Like if you're
pumping content,
you're a journalist or even a creative content maker or any other type of writing, content marketing or anything like that, you just got to pump shit out, and you write it in the morning and you're sending it out, you know, the next day. And you should have other support, like you should, but you have the benefit of probably having like an in-house sub or other people who are going to say that shit or that's good and sort it out for you. But otherwise,
rip apart.
Yeah, but otherwise you just got to go for it. So I feel like somewhere in between that is like is right. Like if you can kind of pump stuff out and then leave it for a little while and just check it, and then, you know, you just got to throw it out there.
I think having like an editor that you trust is probably, if not more important than the actual writing. Because, like I said, you got no perspective, and then it just all comes out, and then you kind of need someone with some perspective to put it in the right spot a bit.
Yeah,
you know, like maybe that was just because I don't know. I'm just beginning, but
the more eyes you have, the better, I think. But
I think you have to have the same reference points. You know, like the same music, or grow up in the same era, or have some of the same perspective. Because if my mum read that, what context would she have about that?
Yeah, I think, well, if your mum read it, I don't know. That's always a worry, isn't it? Yeah. But I think if the average like dark tourist fan reads it, they're probably going to get it. You know, like there's a lot of authentic stuff. It's, you know, it's a little bit abstract. Like it's cool.
Tell me about yours,
man. So we got we've got one on there by Rufus Halloran, and that's free, called Record Temperature. And basically the concept is like, you know, because we had a pretty hot summer, and it was, you know, like what happens if the temperature just kept rising, you know, like it just got hotter each day. So, you know, like it gets to like whatever 40 degrees here in Sydney.
That's how it felt that last summer.
And then what if it just went up to like 43, and then the next day it was like 45, and then it just kept going up? Like, how long before people went full wild?
That's a proper horror story.
Yeah, like kind of like you know, like disaster type, thrill type stuff happening in that. You know, you wait to see like how much people can take before they kind of break down and start like looting. And like what kind of measures would you take when it gets too hot? You know, like would you just like, would you go like, I don't know, like what could you do? Because power would go, water would be hard to get. You know, no air conditioning and shit like that's gonna work. So you got to find like creative ways to survive, and also you're gonna be against like millions of people who are going through like food shortages and shit like that. So,
and not thinking out their most clear.
Yeah, everyone's gonna like
wigging out.
It's just a breakdown, right? So So yeah, that's that story. It's pretty short. You know, like sort of like 30,000 or so words, I think. You know, like it's like an hour. You'll read that, maybe a bit more.
Perfect for the train, man.
Yeah, like that's a good one. And then we got this like same one here, like same author. So we got the Were Dingo.
Boom.
So you can buy that one on Amazon.
I like this cover, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like so
I love it. That's badass.
Yeah, yeah. the concept of this one is like, so in other countries you
That's
have...
a nice book, eh? Like,
Yeah,
well done,
the
man.
printing came out real nice. Like, yeah, it just came out real sweet. Cover's nice, quality's really good. But yeah,
Smells good.
Yeah, it smells good. So you know, obviously in other countries they have werewolves, but I feel like in Australia we don't really have wolves. We have dingoes.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of a dingo as a wolf, man.
They're descended from the wolf. They're canine lupus.
This is mine.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so like you've got like more of an Australian kind of take on it. Like some Australian douchebag is out in the bush, and then a dingo bites him, and it basically turns him into the were dingo, and then he's like running pretty much wild then. So
That's badass to have an Aussie horror story. I
Yeah.
have a thing for like Australian horror. It's
Yeah.
just it's awesome.
yeah, like there's a lot of like Australian stuff in there that you know, I think anyone can probably read it and recognise, but Australians will know what it means. Like if you've ever gone to like see the footy, like if you've ever gone to a rugby league match or whatever, you kind of know what the crowd is, and you know, like the experience, like the Australian stadiums are just like so like infuriating to get in and out, and the crowds are so like wild, and you try and like get a beer and it costs you like $18 for a beer, and it's like mid-strength.
And
So
it's kind of hot from a shitty esky.
Yeah,
Like,
and this just sets the were dingo off, you
Fuck
know,
yeah.
so because he needs the beer.
is it multiple stories or it's one story?
It's one story, just one like
Damn, that's
one,
cool.
one long story, and yeah, it's just sort of things. Shit gets real.
I like
for
that
the were
shit.
dingo. Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. There's a couple other.
How long did it take to write?
Yeah, I think I know that like Rufus was working on that for like a good couple of years, you know. But it's not like a hugely long story or whatever. It's just got a lot of. I think it's that whole like what we're talking about, you know, putting it in the drawer type thing and leaving it, and then yeah, takes
Letting
a
it
long time
percolate.
sometimes, certain people. But yeah, now we got some more coming up too on the site. Like I know you're working on some stuff, so.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, man, and then you sent me that story, and I was like, all right, I'll do more. Like, but I've only just started getting my shit together now, and I've got a long way to go. But, yeah,
Cool.
yeah, the site, man, is looking slick. Like, I looked at it today on my phone, and I was just like, damn, that's cool.
It's gonna be good. We got some more authors coming in as well, so different writers onto the site. Yeah, man, we got like some like reviews as well, like because I think so we just got 1,500 Twitter followers just today.
That's cool.
So yeah, thanks to all the Twitter followers. Trying to like a lot of them I think are writers as well. So like if you're interacting with us on Twitter, you know, that's a good sort of, you know, we want to talk to everyone, and we've done some reviews as well for like pretty much you know, relatively unknown authors, although like a lot of them are really good. Like if it's going to go on the site, it has to be good. There was like Patrick Bowmaster, and he did that true crime story I told you about, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
About like, it was sort of like turn of the century, last century, and in Alabama, and then it was like a pretty wild murder case. And I think like one of the interesting things about that was like the jails were sort of for the prisoners' protection as well, because like this, you know, this dude was just a bad dude, and he killed this old man who was super popular, and the whole town just wanted to lynch this dude, so they had to like keep moving him around from jail to jail. and like the whole thing came down.
Oh, I do remember
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That sounds cool, man.
And like it came down to the dog. Like the dog was pretty much the one.
I
who,
love that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
the dog pretty much was pretty instrumental in solving the crime. I think that's probably pretty clear from the book title itself. So no real spoilers there, but it's just cool to see how the dog. It's a really short read. It's only like a $2, but they have a whole series of these. So you know, like
Cool.
I thought it was a cool one to do because if you like that, then there's a whole heap you can then go and download it. And the dude's like a full historian, so like he's really researched it, and you can kind of tell he's written it well.
Sounds
But
awesome.
yeah, there's a few. We
I
got.
can't believe you actually reviewed the Cavalera gig, because that's, how do you even put into words what an experience that was?
So I've got the video on there, man.
Oh.
It's like, probably like people will probably look it up if the opportunity comes up and they think, oh fuck, is it any good to go see them? You know, like is it going to be a good show? Because they'll just be touring around now. So you know, hopefully somebody.
I want to see that again.
Gets
like,
a good
it was that
experience. Yeah. So probably more of that. We had a couple of reviews on some of the stories on the site. Like we got one for the record temperature. So
That's
that was cool. So yeah, it was nice that somebody found that and reviewed it. And there's a few people really interacting on the site, which is cool. There's like one guy, Kevin from the Deep South, and he's like liking our tweets and stuff. So that's
cool.
Pretty cool.
Man, from the Deep South. That's badass.
There's a few people that are definitely. So yeah, it's good. You know, we appreciate it.
That's cool.
But yeah, and also like Palm and King Parrot also like the Anselmo gig that we reviewed. They sort of liked that tweet. So it's like cool. All right, well someone's probably looked at it.
That's cool.
Cool. Oh well, more coming soon, I guess. That's probably about it for now.
Yeah, I need to like write more and get going.
Well, hopefully we'll have like 6 more stories for the next episode. All right, man. We'll call it a wrap, yeah?
Yeah, let's get some pizza.
Peace out.